All right, bull runners, welcome back to the channel. So 2024 is set to be a transformational year. This is going to be absolutely massive for crypto. I'm going to give you guys some key details that you need to know about what's happening over in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, Abu Dhabi, over in China, over in Russia, specifically over here in the United States as well too, and how this is priming up to be one of the biggest bull runs of all time. I got some key details of what's happening right now where it's basically a done deal. So comment 777 if you guys are feeling blessed, if you're feeling bullish, and if you're going to become the first millionaire in your family tree. You know what to do. Confirm it by taking the like button, grabbing your putter, giving it a tippity tapperoo, just sink the putt, just tap it in, do it for grandma, because we're beating the SEC and we're buying our house back with XRP. Let's run it. All right, bull runners, welcome back. So let's start this video off talking about Russia and China.
I have to have my China. China, because China.
Their energy trade right now is absolutely soaring, and the BRICS nations, the alliance is growing stronger. So the two countries, they don't really use the dollar that much anymore in trade, and countries around the world are beginning to utilize local trade. So China continues to encourage Gulf nations to utilize the Shanghai Petroleum and Natural Gas Exchange for yuan-based oil and gas trade settlement. So this is including, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, the UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, Oman, among many others. And as BRICS is set to expand with Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, it's highly expected that more and more local currencies will play a role in trade. In fact, the Vice President, Deputy Prime Minister, Chairman of the Presidential Court, and Chairman of the Central Bank of the United Arab Emirates just made history today at the time of shooting this video by initiating the first cross-border payment of about 500 million dirham, which is roughly about, I think 136 million US dollars, using the UAE Central Bank's digital currency, the digital dirham, directly to China via the mBridge platform. Now, as you guys already know, and we've covered this in previous videos, the Bank for International Settlements, the BIS, they released an update and a document on their website for Project mBridge back in October of 2023, and this was titled Experimenting with a Multi-CBDC Platform for Cross-Border Payments. So let's talk about what is Project mBridge and how does this relate to what's happening right now for global trade, because the document says that Project mBridge experiments with a multi-CBDC common platform for wholesale cross-border payments, focusing on the use case of international trade, which has the potential to connect central banks and commercial banks around the world as a public good. So the platform developed for Project mBridge is underpinned by custom-built distributed ledger technology. And at the heart of Project mBridge is a purpose-developed permission distributed ledger technology called the mBridge Ledger, or the MBL, similar to the XRP ledger, right? So how does this connect? Because it supports instant peer-to-peer and atomic cross-border payments and FX, foreign exchange transactions using wholesale CBDCs. So the platform also offers API-based integration on the global ISO 20022 messaging standard for financial information to support interoperability and reduce friction when onboarding new institutions. So the big question I know you're thinking right now, it kind of sounds overcomplicated, but if mBridge is its own platform through the Bank for International Settlements and other countries are using this, then how does the project, mBridge platform connect to external systems like the XRP ledger if it's not working directly with the XRP ledger and it's their own unique thing? Well, interoperability with other systems is supported through API integration based on the global ISO 20022 messaging standard for financial information to allow other companies to easily connect and integrate into ISO compatible payment systems. So for commercial banks, the Bank for International Settlements is saying that cross-border payments and FX transactions are conducted through the interaction between their core banking system and their mBridge backend. And for central banks, CBDC issuance and redemption operations are supported by the integration of mBridge into domestic payment systems such as real-time gross settlement and CBDCs through each central bank's mBridge backend. So this would integrate with the central bank's backends if they choose to accept it, because they have tons of partners right now that you guys can see on this official document. And API connectivity to domestic payment systems means that a domestic CBDC system is not a precondition for joining the mBridge platform if adopted by central banks. So this is promoting interoperability with other systems, which is what Brad Garlinghouse has been saying for years as a major use case for the XRP ledger.
And you're holding a dollar, you're selling that dollar and buying XRP, you're moving that XRP across the XRP ledger to, let's say, Bitso, who's here in the audience today. You're selling the XRP and you're buying Mexican peso. By enabling that liquidity to move from dollar to peso in real time, you're changing how that oil is greasing the engine of correspondent banking. So for us, in a world of hype, in a world of experimentation, in a world where people talk about the opportunity and really the speculation of digital assets, we feel like XRP is the only digital asset really poised to solve a problem at scale. A global payments problem. I got asked this last week. I was speaking at a Morgan Stanley conference, and somebody asked me, there was this headline, set of headlines about, about the JPM coin. And this guy was from Morgan Stanley who was interviewing me. I said, so is Morgan Stanley going to use the JPM coin? And he's like, well, probably not. And so, well, is Citi going to use the JPM coin? Is B of A going to use the JPM coin? Is PNC? And the answer is no. And so does that mean we're all going to have these different coins? And does that mean we're back to where we are, where there's lack of interoperability? So I don't get it. One more quick thing on JPM coin. So let's think about this. The JPM coin, they announced for institutional customers, if you give them $1 as deposits, they'll give you a JPM coin that you then can move within the JPM ledger. Wait a minute, just use the dollar.
Right.
Well, I really don't understand. If you're just moving it within the JPM ledger, and it has to be dollar to dollar, a one-to-one backing, it honestly doesn't actually, I don't understand what problem that solves.
So interoperability is referring to the ability of different systems, devices, or software applications to work together and exchange information seamlessly and effectively. Similar to how, Ripple's technology is not set to replace Swift, it's set to work in harmony and alongside Swift. And so that's a key thing to note. So a lot of people that are saying that, they're not partnering with Ripple or they're not using Ripple. Yes, that may be true. Interoperability is the key here. So they're working on synergies with other BIS Innovation Hub projects as well too, and innovative private sector solutions. As you guys know, over the past year that we've covered time and time again, whether it be weekly or monthly, all of the Bank for International Settlements projects that they're putting out there, our majority of them are talking about CBDCs. And China even said back in August that the BRICS nations, their members should study local currency cooperation payment tools and platforms to promote local currency settlement, and members should strengthen cross-border payment cooperation. So why would they do this? Well, back in August, Saudi Arabia's foreign minister also commented that the kingdom is the largest BRICS trading partner in the Middle East in total bilateral trade, with the countries of the group exceeding $160 billion back in 2022. So 160 billion's not that small of a number. It's not nothing to sneeze at. This is a big deal and it's massive. And this brings us back to the issue of the petrodollar and its impact on the United States and how this transitions into a crypto bull run. So I'm going to get into that in a little bit, but this is important because the connection between the dollar and the global energy markets have deep historical roots. Back in 1945, an agreement between President Franklin D. Roosevelt and the King of Saudi Arabia, which traded Saudi energy supplies for U.S. security guarantees. Over time, a substantial portion of petrodollars earned by oil producers were reinvested into assets like treasury bonds. But today, we're witnessing many nations diversifying from their U.S. treasuries and diversifying their reserves into assets and, precious metals like gold. So this was kicked into high gear, absolute rocket fuel dumped on the fire, so to speak, following the United States and its allies' decision to freeze around $300 billion worth of sovereign Russian assets in the West in early 2022 during the invasion of Ukraine. And so that pissed them off. And so think about it like the United States is the big bully on the playground running around kicking everyone in the nuts. Well, if you kick enough people in the nuts, they're going to team up together and they're going to try and beat you up. And so that's what's happening. That's why they're ditching the dollar for trade. And this year alone, we saw 20% of oil transactions settled in currencies other than the dollar. And as Saudi Arabia forms an alliance with the BRICS and they continue to add, other countries, the influence of the petrodollar will begin to wane gradually, and assets like precious metals and crypto will rise. Now, it's not going to happen overnight, even though I know you get excited, you get bullish, and you're subscribing to the channel if you're feeling that way, but it's not going to happen that quick because it takes time for these, power players and these massive whales to sit in meetings and do a meeting for another meeting, then schedule a meeting for another meeting, and then it takes months and even years to get this ushered in. And plus, you have to overhaul an old system. So the dollar it's slowly dying, but eventually it will be gone over the next, 10, 15, 20 years. Maybe a little bit longer, but overall, the spending power has been going down. And Saudi Arabia is strategically taking minority stakes in global mining assets worldwide as a part of its vision for 2030 to diversify the economy beyond oil. Because as you guys know, the Middle East is oil rich, and that's why we went over there, and that's why troops were stationed over there and all that stuff to back the dollar by the petrodollar. Because in 1970s, the dollar was taken off of the gold standard and backed by what? It was backed by oil and credit cards and massive interest. And so when you swipe a credit card, you don't see what that's doing, but you're just basically digging a hole of debt. Now, credit card debt was virtually at an all-time high, and the goal has been to transform the kingdom into a resource hub. So particularly for, minerals like copper, in response to the global transition that demands increased mineral production due to shortages in many key elements and around the globe, and, expansion and production uses precious metals. So it's a brilliant strategy if you think about it. Oil is still used for virtually everything. We can't go completely electric. Oil's needed, and precious metals are needed, to build buildings, to build electronics. So Saudi Arabia's mineral endowment is worth an estimated $1.3 trillion, and the kingdom is also considering establishing gold refineries. So this is massively bullish for gold and other precious metals. And if the BRICS nations indeed back a trading currency with hard assets in a basket of precious metals, no doubt that Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates will play a major role, guys. Dubai, over in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Miami, these are being central hubs for massive business and expansion, other than tax benefits as well, too. So if you're living in like California and New York, consider moving to Miami. That's where I'm at right now. Beautiful Miami, Florida, living like right by the beach. It's amazing. And plus, it never gets cold here. I mean, it's kind of chilly right now, but it's like 60 degrees. I know, big complaints, right? I need to put on my jacket because, I got icicles hanging out my nose over here. So China is the largest producer of gold. Saudi Arabia is the leader of OPEC and the OPEC groups, and is the second largest oil producer. So Saudi Arabia is China's second largest oil supplier after who? Russia. So China and Russia, they're in cahoots, man. They're in cahoots. And the two other countries extensively deepen their ties in 2023, and in 2024, it's only going to get stronger for them. So in early 2023, Saudi Arabia said the country was open to discussions about trading currencies other than the US dollar. So not only is the US dollar breaking down, but every other fiat currency is following, because the dollar is the global reserve currency. I know a lot of people are saying, and at the end of every video I say the dollar's been going down in value. That's the truth. But every other currency is going down in value. You saw what happened in China, one of their largest, companies in real estate. I don't even know what's happening with them, man. Like, their stock just absolutely crashed. So China is struggling as well, too. So fiat currencies are a dying breed. It's like the old flip phones. How many people do you know use a flip phone anymore? Virtually nobody. They're all on smartphones. Well, fiat currencies are a dying form of money. See, all money is energy, and energy likes to shift, because if you go back to times where we used to barter and trade, if I had cattle and you had crops for like wheat or corn, and I gave you a cow and you gave me, several bundles of corn, then we were making a trade, and that was money. That was currency. So we were trading currency at the time, and so currency could take different forms. There doesn't need to be one form of currency. The barter and trade system is as old as humankind, and so fiat currency was just a new form of bartering and trade. Cryptocurrency is the newest form of barter and trade. So regardless of Bitcoin's 4-year market cycle, we're actually in a super cycle, guys, because crypto hasn't been around for that long. So zoom out, start thinking about what's going to happen over the next 20 years. What's going to happen over the next 50 years? Really, guys, imagine that for a second. Because with every other country's fiat currency following the US dollar just being debased because it's virtually backed by nothing, we're about to see a massive crypto bull run after some key things happen in the market. So I want to give you guys 7 key things that I think are going to happen next. And if you agree, give this video a like. If you disagree, drop a comment below and let me know why. So number 1, when you look at the psychology of a market cycle, it appears based on the past cycle that we've broken out of depression into the disbelief stage where retail doesn't really believe we're in a bull run because, they still have trust issues from the FTX soy boy, Sam Bankman-Fried, Celsius and Terra Luna, UST stablecoin collapse and all those collapses. So people have massive trust issues. Retail has massive trust issues about crypto right now. But, after disbelief comes hope, and retail starts to enter in again. Their trust issues start to wane. They start to see those disgusting gains that these degens are making in the gaming industry, in artificial intelligence, in SocialFi projects, in DeFi projects, because this rally over 2023 has mostly been crypto bros and institutional money coming in, but the real money, which is the masses from retail, has yet to arrive. And even institutional money has yet to arrive due to the lawsuit not being completely over between the SEC and Ripple. That's going to be happening around Bitcoin's halving. So people are still holding their breath right now. And what comes after disbelief is hope, belief, thrill, optimism, euphoria, the massive stage of the bull run. So that's what's happening. Now we could chop around for a little bit and looking at point number 2, looking at the total altcoin market cap, excluding Bitcoin, it looks like we're in phase D of Wyckoff accumulation. So we can chop around for a few months. We could see a sell-off further to the downside, but eventually we'll break to the upside for phase E before we go absolutely parabolic. And so number 3, when analyzing, the Bitcoin long-term holder chart, each time we breached into green that you can see on the chart right here, the last few bull runs, we saw a minor pullback into yellow. Now, obviously, 2020 was a black swan event, bringing the market back into orange and red, and that was real quick. It was a V-shaped recovery. But after that, we rallied into blue towards the euphoria stage, which was massive greed in the markets. Right now, people are neither greedy nor are they fearful. They're just neutral right now. So people haven't really respected this dip. So that's why I do think we could see a further sell-off to the downside. So number 4, even though we could see a sell-off for Bitcoin in the short term, potentially down to, $28,000 to $35,000, along with the rest of the altcoin market, to back test the previous range that was resistance as support going into Bitcoin's halving, there could be some shakeout events. 6 to 12 months after Bitcoin's halving, we usually rip out of disbelief into hope and then optimism, quarter 4 of 2024. So if Bitcoin does what it's always done every single cycle, then this year is the year to prepare and to accumulate. Now, I personally don't think that Bitcoin is going to make you generational wealth. In my video that I made yesterday, you guys are going to want to watch that video. I spent all day breaking down the macro market cycle for you so you can understand a realistic prediction of what the total market cap will be for all altcoins, including Bitcoin, what percentage dominance Bitcoin would hold of that, and how that would affect the rest of the altcoin market cap. So although I think Bitcoin could perform pretty decent, like a 4 to a 6x, I do think there will be much larger gains in projects like XRP, other mid caps, and even low cap projects that we're talking about on our channel. Now, if you guys want to see what low cap projects and mid cap projects and even large cap projects we're the most bullish on before we make videos about them, then you go to bullrunners.com right now, subscribe to our video newsletter, put in your best email address. You guys will be instantly added to our email list and you'll get the best information every single day. You get free access to our Telegram group, among many other benefits. But number 5, on March 11th, the Federal Reserve of the United States will end the bank term funding program, effectively pulling the rug out from underneath the banks. So Jerome Powell is going to rug pull the banks. I know the crypto degens are used to getting rug pulled in all these different projects that, pull out the liquidity and you lose your money. But will the Federal Reserve rug pull the banks? This is crazy because this raises concerns, particularly for the smaller banks. Banks like JP Morgan or, Wells Fargo or other big banks, they're going to be fine. But for smaller banks, it's signifying the end of vital financial support, impacting the stability of the banking sector. Because number 6, if this happens, well, not if, but when it happens and the Federal Reserve ends this, then we could start to see some bank runs happen around that time. Then the Fed will either have to do one of two things. They're either going to have to let the smaller banks completely fail and pick winners and losers. Now, Janet Yellen said this back when Silicon Valley Bank collapsed, that they were picking winners and losers, but for them to let all of the banks fail is highly unlikely. You know, if that were to happen, let's just say that happens and they let these banks fail, well, that would cause a massive amount of money to flood into crypto, similar to what happened during the Silicon Valley Bank collapse on March 10th of 2023, which pumped Bitcoin from $20,000 to over $30,000 in just 1 month. So that's option number one. That would lead to massive money into crypto. Or number two, the Fed would step in, bail out the banks by adding to their balance sheet, buying their bad debt, which would cause money to flood into crypto either way because they have to issue some money off the printing press. So the Fed is trapped. So either A, let the smaller banks fail, the dam breaks, money floods into crypto where people can be their own banks, trust in crypto grows, trust in the banks fall, or B, they just print more money, they add to their balance sheet to bail out the banks with billions of dollars that will flow into crypto anyways, increasing the distrust investors already have in the dollar and the banks. So the Fed is in a catch-22, they're in a pickle, and the game's virtually over. It's a done deal, guys. So number 7, eventually the Fed is also going to have to start cutting interest rates again. And you know what that means? The printing press goes burr. Jerome Powell, starts backing up the truck, printing more money than ever before, devaluing the dollar. And the value of the crypto market goes up when that happens. The value of precious metals goes up when that happens. Now, in the short term, they wouldn't just cut rates just to cut rates. They would cut rates in response to, a crash in the economy. So in the short term, that could lead to some sort of panic attack in the markets. We could see an initial sell-off in crypto, and that could be the shakeout event where people, are scared, they sell out, and then the institutions and the wealthy move their fiat currency that the Fed just printed, and they put it back into the crypto markets, and they pump the markets back up. Because when you think about this, and you combine all of this with the fact that the gross debt in the United States is over $34 trillion, and it's projected to grow over 50 trillion by 2033, not even factoring any bank runs or any collapses. That's just what's going to happen. This is the perfect storm of opportunity to create generational wealth the next 2 to 7 years. You may never see an opportunity like this again. So don't sleep on it, guys. Comment which altcoin you're accumulating this bull run. And you know what we're doing? We're going to be backing up our truck all the way to the bank, grabbing the bags, packing them, stacking them, leaving no bags left behind. And when we talk about XRP, is it possible to turn $10,000 to $250,000? Ripple could be doing their IPO post lawsuit, of April or May, and so that could add massive amounts of liquidity into the market. But in my video yesterday, I talked about my realistic price prediction for XRP by 2025, and a full extension of 4.236 would be around $13. So from where we are right now, that'd be about like a 20 to 25x, somewhere around there. Now, there are no guarantees. This is not financial advice. Go consult your financial advisor. As you already know, when you like this video, you're confirming that crypto is risky and you could lose all of your money, so you're okay with getting absolutely wrecked. But if you listened all the way to the end of this video and you want to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because you know what we're doing. We're going camping on the beaches of the moon. So I appreciate you guys for watching this. I will see you on the next one. I will see you on bullrunners.com. As always, you know what to do. Stay bullish.